Thomas. I'm the coordinator of Theresian Center for Research and Development, and I'm the program coordinator for the FPP program at St. Teresa's. I will be the host for the day, along with my colleague, Dr. Jisha John, who's the faculty of the Department of English. She's also the academic coordinator of the FPP program at St. Teresa's. Let us begin the inaugural ceremony by invoking the blessings of the Almighty, and I invite Miss Anna John and Miss Maria John of the Theresian Choir to lead us in prayer. Over to you, girls.
You are my hiding place. You always fill my heart with songs of deliverance. Whenever I am afraid, I will trust in you. I will trust in you. Let the weak say I am strong in the strength of my Lord. I will trust in you. I will trust in you. Let the weak say I am strong in the strength of my Lord. Sona, you're on mute.
Thank you for pointing that out. Thank you. Thank you, Anna and Maria, for the wonderful prayer. I now invite Dr. Lissy Matthew, the principal of St. Teresa's College, to welcome the gathering. Over to you, ma'am.
Sona, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Dear respected Dr. Sister Vinita, our manager and provincial superior, His Excellency Mr. David Pine, High Commissioner, New Zealand, respected Sri T.P. Srinivasan, IFS, former Ambassador of India, respected Mr. Richard Kenniston, the Principal, Academic Relations of Education, New Zealand, respected Professor Ganesh Koramanil, CEO of iQuery, Australia, representatives from the University of Auckland, Victoria University, Wellington, and Art University, New Zealand, staff in charge of Theresian International and academic coordinator of this program, Dr. Jisha John, project coordinator and coordinator of Theresian Research and Development, Ms. Sona Thomas, marketing team head, Dr. Danny Paulos, head of the Management Studies Department, and the team, esteemed participants, the faculty members, and students. A warm good morning to all. It gives me immense happiness on this occasion when St. Teresa's College has taken a great initiative to launch this Foundation Preparation Pathway program. This is envisaged with a vision to provide the opportunity to the deserving students of Kerala and Karnataka for their higher education to elite universities in New Zealand. With the implementation of this initiative, students having completed their primary and high school education are eligible for this FPP program. I understand that this FPP program is very innovatively designed in such a manner that it will result in much cost savings and time saving for the aspiring students, but at the same time retaining a 3-year post-study work visa for the students. The program offered for the FPP focuses on core subjects like English, Maths, Science, Business, Humanities, and Commerce. And the successful students in this FPP can pursue graduation in top universities in New Zealand, one of the most preferred destinations for higher studies with its favorable climate and quality environment. I take this opportunity to congratulate and compliment the initiative of the R&D of Teresian International in this regard. On this occasion, I sincerely thank our manager, Dr. Sister Vinita, for the motivation and all means of support that she has provided to proceed with this venture. Now to the duty vested on me to welcome the esteemed dignitaries. In the past couple of years, St. Teresa's College has taken great initiatives and several bold decisions in imparting holistic education with emphasis on vocational programs and skill enhancement. And it was all made a reality by the strenuous planning and dedication of none other than Dr. Sister Vinita, our manager and provincial superior. The FPP program that is launched today is another milestone in widening the scope and horizon of education. I welcome you, most respected Dr. Sister Vinita, the president of this function, to this August gathering.
Thank you, Miss.
I feel much honored to accord a very hearty welcome to His Excellency, Mr. David Pine, High Commissioner, New Zealand, who will be delivering keynote address in this function. We all know New Zealand is an advanced economy with high human development index, always upholding democratic and human values. New Zealand also has very advanced and highly ranked universities and educational institutions. It will be a great privilege for the deserving Indian students to be able to pursue their education in New Zealand. Our most cordial welcome to Mr. David Pine, the High Commissioner of New Zealand, to this elegant online gathering about higher education in New Zealand. Sri T.P. Srinivasan, IFS, former Ambassador of India, is not new to St. Teresa's College. We have received immense help by way of right directions, decisions, and proper guidance during the first phase of the autonomy period of the college since 2015. Your valuable interactions and critical suggestions helped us lay good foundation for the autonomous status. As former member of the governing council of the college, your very valuable contributions are always remembered with gratitude. On behalf of all the esteemed members gathered for this online meeting, I welcome you, sir, to this solemn function.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wish to extend a very cordial welcome to Mr. Richard Kenningston, the Principal Academic Relations, Up Education, New Zealand. He will be delivering an introduction to the FPP program to the participants of this online meeting. Very hearty welcome to you, sir, to this meeting.
Thank you.
Professor George Cormanel, CEO of iQuery Australia, was a focal point of many interactions regarding this FPP program with the Teresian International team members of the college. May I extend a very cordial welcome to Professor Ganesh to this gathering.
Thank you, Miss.
My wholehearted welcome to all the officials and representatives from the University of Auckland, Victoria University Wellington, and Auckland University, New Zealand to this August function. The program coordinator of Teresian R&D, Ms. Sona Thomas, have invested a lot of time and energy towards materialization of this online meeting and also launch of this FPP program. My hearty welcome to you, dear Sona Thomas. And I also extend my hearty welcome to the academic coordinator of this program, Dr. Jisha John, who is also faculty of the English department and the staff in charge of the Teresian International. I welcome you, Dr. Jisha John, to this virtual event. I extend my sincere welcome to the marketing head of this project, Dr. Dali Paulos, head of the Management Studies Department, and her team of faculty members, Ms. Purnendu, Ms. Anu Jayashankar, and Ms. Megha Michael, who have contributed immensely for the success of this program. Let this give an opening to the interested students, providing ample opportunities to pursue higher education offered by the top level universities in New Zealand. My special welcome to all the participants to this August or auspicious function. On this occasion, I also wish and pray for every success for all the endeavors of the Teresian International Unit of the college. Best wishes. Thank you all.
Thank you, Lissy ma'am, for those encouraging words. Next, we have none other than Dr. Sister Vinita, who's the visionary behind St. Teresa's College. It is through her guidance and mentoring that we grow. I call upon Dr. Sister Vinita, the Provincial Superior and Manager of the college, to deliver the presidential address. Over to you, Sister.
Wishing through the FPP program, we have also had the opportunity to form new local linkages, especially with schools. I hope our collaboration will provide value to the future generations and to their aspirations. St. Teresa's College has always dared to take such daring steps. The autonomy that we enjoy today has given us a kind of spirit lift to venture into new domains. And I'm happy that the R&D is doing a great work with the advice of our friend and our guide, C.P. Srinivasan, IFS, who has been with us for some time as our governing council member. Ever since that day, he is always with us, giving us all the guidance we need. At this juncture, I express my heartfelt gratitude to you, sir, for hand-holding us in all our programs.
Thank you.
Also, the other universities that has come to support us. I sincerely thank each of you, the representatives, and also Mr. David Pine. Thank you for being with us. Richard Kensington, also a word of thanks from me. And definitely Ganesh, who has invested his confidence in us and in our budding R&D department, and they have done a great work in establishing these linkages. I hope the program that we are starting today will do justice to both your university, my college, and also to the students who put their trust in us. I wish all the best for this new venture. May God bless all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sister, for your kind and encouraging words. Now, we have none other than Mr. Richard Kensington himself to introduce the FPP program to us. He's the principal and the academic relations at Up Education New Zealand. I need to acknowledge that this program wouldn't have been possible without his hand-holding. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, and thank you for those nice words. And I'm sure we've got there even if I'd been asleep, because we've all worked extremely hard, and Sonna, you are the most proficient person I've ever worked with on this project. FPP, very quickly, I have a number of slides here just going through outlining what this program is. So this is a picture of a lake in the South Island of New Zealand. And just to remind people where we are, we're that country safely hidden in the South Pacific, 3 to 4 hours flying time from Australia, and a bit further from India. New Zealand's known as being a safe place to start a career. World rankings rate us very highly in terms of our peaceful country, our levels of no corruption, and also being a place for world education. It's also a fun place to explore and to enjoy, and that's just an example of one thing, bungee jumping in the Lake Wakatipu in the South Island in our tourist centre called Queenstown. New Zealand's also a great place to study. We have strong ethnic communities. We're an uncrowded country, and if you think New Zealand and the United Kingdom have approximately the same area of land, in New Zealand we have 5 million people, United Kingdom has close to 65 million, another 60 million. So population-wise, we are very spread out. We have world-class universities in New Zealand, and a little bit more on them in a moment, but they are all in the top 500 in the world. Our qualifications are internationally respected. A New Zealand qualification opens doors in other countries. So graduates from New Zealand universities have very little difficulty enrolling for higher level degrees if they want to in other Western countries, in fact any country. And there's also opportunities for people to do further study and maybe even work. Up Education, formerly known as ACG, has worked with 3 of the New Zealand universities for many, many years. All our universities in New Zealand are government owned, and we started working with the University of Auckland in 1998, and both AUT and Victoria University of Wellington in the early 2000s. The University of Auckland is our #1 ranking university in terms of the QS ranking scheme. It is number 81 in the world. AUT is ranked 437, but as a young university, it's ranked in one of the highest in the world. Victoria University is another strong partner at 233 in the world, and very strong in many different areas. Foundation Preparation Pathway Program. I find it a bit of a tongue twister, so abbreviated it to FPP Program. So this program has been designed to give students a powerful head start when they actually start foundation in New Zealand. So the students we have joining this foundation program, if they were the FPP program, need to meet the same entry requirements if they were to hop on a plane and come to New Zealand and do a 1-year foundation program. Of course, at the moment, you can't come to New Zealand and study, but you can study it online. So students who join the FPP program need to have an English level of at least an IELTS of 5 or an equivalent. And in terms of India, we're talking about students at least who have finished year 10 and have an 80% average in their relevant subjects. And there's an example of what we're talking about, relevant subjects at the bottom. And if for students from an IGCSE world, we're talking about students with a couple of Bs and a couple of C passes. So a student with that profile could apply to join foundation and do a 1-year program, but that's not the point of this exercise of the FPP program. So this FPP program involves 17 weeks of intense study and 1 week for exams. So during the study, students are helped to improve their English, and they need to graduate with an IELTS level of 6. Then they will do a tertiary study skills course, which focuses on essay writing, note-taking, footnotes, how to do presentations, how to work in groups. And then we currently have 4 academic subjects available, and students must study 3 of them. So often asked, is this program targeted at weak students or students with weak English? And the answer is definitely not. This is not a program for weak students. It's a program for good academic students who have strong academic interest in further study and believe they will be successful. And ultimately, we want them to be successful. And successful means being able to study foundation in a shorter period of time. The pathway we talk about with FPP, it's a pathway from the FPP program delivered by St. Teresa's. They are guaranteed, if they meet the required marks, of a place in the Certificate of Foundation Studies. So they're guaranteed a place in the AUT or the Victoria University or the University of Auckland Foundation Studies program. And then students who complete the Foundation Studies program and achieve the required academic marks and English level, they are also guaranteed places at the university in a degree program. And this guarantee relates to English, academic score. They must also have passed each of their academic subjects. And for some subjects, degree level, they may have to also undertake an interview or present a portfolio. But this is all open in advance. Students will see it right from day one. So the program itself, if we're looking at the University of Auckland, students need to get a GPA of greater than 85% and an IELTS of 6, and then we guarantee them a place in the 5-month University of Auckland Foundation program. And students who have a Year 10 profile of greater than 80% will, I believe, all be capable of reaching that 85% mark. So for the University of Auckland, it's 85%. That gets them into the foundation program. If they get a lower GPA, we can offer them a slightly longer course. If they have a lower level of English, we can offer them a slightly lower course. The foundation program itself involves the study of English for academic purposes and also 4 academic subjects. So students who come and study the accelerated course, the 6-month course, will spend 6 months on 4 academic subjects that they decide they want to study. Students should study the subjects that they are best at and also the ones that relate to their degree pathway. So if we were to look at the graduation requirements, so if we're looking at a student who may be interested in a Bachelor of Global Studies, in the 4 academic subjects, where each one they must have a pass, they must get a total of 270 out of 400. In English, they must have their IELTS, which is a higher IELTS for Global Studies, or a B+ in EAP, and they're guaranteed a place in Global Studies. And of course, the same applies for different degree pathways. And when you get the opportunity to see the copy of the brochure on the right, you'll see inside the brochure a couple of pages where the requirements for a guaranteed pass into whatever degree the student wants to study is listed there. Victoria University of Wellington and AUT University have slightly lower GPAs required to get into their programs. So while Auckland requires 85%, AUT and Vic require 80% to do their fast track program. I'm just going to go in detail about the Victoria University program, but the Victoria University program and the AUT program are similar in some ways. So with the Auckland program, you study each subject for 6 months. But when you come and study the AUT program and the Vic program, you study each subject for a term. So in half a year, there are 2 terms. So for the compulsory subjects, there are 4 subjects, 2 are studied in term 1 and 2 in term 2. And then in terms of the optional subjects, students will be studying a number of these subjects, and they study each of these subjects for a term. Entry into degree level at the Victoria University of Wellington, long as a student has passed every subject, in other words 50% in English and all the irrelevant other subjects, they are guaranteed a place in a course. The only exception to that will be education, which also requires a higher IELTS. AUT's entry requirements are similar, but they are different. There is an example of what the Victoria brochure looks like, and on the left-hand side is some more detail on what are the guaranteed pathways for students through into the university. And there's a similar brochure and a similar outline of the requirements for AUT. Every person asks, are there scholarships available? And yes, there are scholarships available. So students who meet the requirements for a half-year program, there is an automatic $3,000 New Zealand scholarship. And the top graduating student in each delivery site will also receive another $5,000 scholarship. So the top student actually gets a scholarship of $8,000. And so just a number of quick questions just on this program. What happens if the border is closed when you've completed foundation? The answer is foundation is available online. So we are currently delivering all intakes of all the 3 programs online. And at the moment, we actually have as many students enrolled online as we would normally have delivering face-to-face in New Zealand. Can the foundation result be used to enter other universities? Yes, it can, because the programs are recognised in New Zealand, but there's no guarantee, and we don't help you to apply to another university, because you should be going to either AET or Vic or the University of Auckland. Will the foundation program that you study deliver you to all degree pathways? With University of Auckland, there are 2 degree pathways where this is not possible: medicine and pharmacy, which is only available for domestic students. And there are 2 other degree pathways that students asked about. One is dentistry and one is veterinary science. Our 3 university partners do not deliver either of those pathways, and those students who are interested in veterinary science or dentistry would be advised that the FPP program ultimately will not provide them guaranteed places into a foundation program, and you would be better advised to study an Otago or Massey program. Can all students achieve a student visa to study in New Zealand? And the answer is passing the academic program does not guarantee that a student visa will be granted. So part of the selection process for this program is to make sure that students and parents fully understand and, from our perspective, meet most of the requirements that Immigration New Zealand will be looking for at the time they start processing for visas again. So nothing is automatic. So we can provide the academic background and the academic profile. Immigration New Zealand is the decider on whether a student visa is offered or not. And having said that, at the moment, no student visas are being processed for any student to come to New Zealand. So when the borders open, Immigration New Zealand will start processing again. And I don't expect that to happen until much later this year. But we really don't know. Often asked, can a student work while they're in New Zealand? And the answer is Immigration New Zealand makes that decision, not us, not the university. It's the immigration that decides. But yes, if they do decide and permission is granted, then you can work up to 20 hours per week or 40 hours per week during the holiday time once you have commenced university. So there's no permission to work while you're doing the foundation program if the borders is open and you're able to study foundation in New Zealand. You have to actually study all the time. So that is a very quick rundown of the FPP program. I focused mainly on the University of Auckland and the Victoria University pathway, but the AUT pathway is very similar. And just to reinforce what I said to Sonna there before, I am really impressed at how the program is developing with St. Teresa's, and I believe all students who enroll in the program at St. Teresa's will not only deserve success, but will get success because you are a dedicated group of academics. And thank you for the opportunity to present today. Sonna?
Thank you so much, Mr. Richard, for that presentation. Next, we move on to the most awaited moment. His Excellency, Mr. David Pine, New Zealand's Ambassador to India, joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade in the year 1993. He was previously New Zealand's High Commissioner to Malaysia and Brunei. A career diplomat, he had previously served in New York, Canberra, Kuala Lumpur, and also as an ambassador to the Philippines. In Wellington, he held a number of policy roles, including the Director of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade's Economic Division. We are much honored to have him grace our occasion today. I invite His Excellency, Mr. David Pine, for the keynote address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Sono. Sister Vanita, Dr. Matthew, Mr. Srinivasan, my colleagues Ben Burrows and Chuknu Roy, Mr. Kensington, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, namaste, tēnā koutou katoa, and greetings to you all. It's a very great pleasure to be here. I have to admit I have a bias in favour of any here again and again from Indian friends, is that India is looking for to develop and deepen its relationships with trusted partners that play by the rules and live by democratic values. And very gratifyingly, they tell me that they see New Zealand in this light. Our two countries have well-established links through the Commonwealth and through sport. Our friendly rivalry on the cricket pitch goes back to 1955 and is very much alive today, and we saw that most recently last year when Virat Kohli led his wonderfully talented team around our country and to enormous crowds of New Zealanders, including New Zealanders of Indian descent. But cricket isn't the only only sport that we share a love for. A lot of people will be familiar with our sporting history in the Commonwealth Games and the Olympics, where we compete in sports like badminton and hockey. But what might surprise people is that kabaddi is a growing sport in New Zealand. In fact, New Zealand made the final of the Women's World Cup in Punjab 3 years in a row, from 2013 to 2015. I have to admit that India came out on top on all three occasions, but we made the final. And the rise of kabaddi illustrates important changes that are going on in New Zealand. In the last 2 decades, the proportion of New Zealand's population who were born in India or claim Indian heritage doubled to almost 5%. Excuse me. Now that's a larger proportion than Australia. It's 5 times the proportion of Indian people that live in the United States. The curiosity of Kiwis about India is moving beyond butter chicken and Bollywood, and I'm a fan of both, but New Zealanders are moving beyond this into a wider appreciation of this country's art and literature and culture. Hindi is now our 4th most widely spoken language. Diwali is now firmly established in our calendar of celebrations. And all of this means that New Zealand, Aotearoa, is becoming an ever more welcoming environment for Indian students. Different enough to be interesting, but now familiar enough that students feel safe and not alienated. We're looking forward to welcoming the students of this country back to New Zealand just as soon as we're able to do so safely. So thank you again for taking the time to be with us today at the inauguration of this important new program. Ka kite ana.
Thank you so much, Ambassador, for your observations and thought-provoking words. We really appreciate your valuable presence today. We are honored and delighted to have a multifaceted personality with us today, the erudite scholar, orator, and author, Mr. T.P. Srinivasan, a former ambassador and permanent representative of India to the United Nations. He served in the Indian Foreign Service for 37 years. With decades of experience in multilateral diplomacy, he has represented India at a number of international conferences organized by the United Nations, the Commonwealth, and the Non-Allied Movement, besides chairing several UN committees and conferences. He has authored 7 books and proved his literary acumen through his innumerable articles published in leading journals and newspapers. It's my honor to invite you, sir, to address the gathering.
Microphone.
Well, thank you very much for the generous introduction, and also thank Sister Vinita for the very kind words that she spoke about me. Your Excellency, the High Commissioner of New Zealand, and other academic experts who are present today at this foundation preparation pathway program between Indian students and New Zealand. There are really three reasons, special reasons why I'm delighted to be here to felicitate this foundation preparation pathway program. First of all, St. Teresa's is my favorite college in Kerala. Together with my alma mater, the University College in Trivandrum, and the college which gave me the first paycheck, which is the Marianus College in Trivandrum. But St. Teresa's I have adopted because it is one of the best colleges in Kerala, and the level of sophistication that you find there, and the high level of education, as well as the great variety of extracurricular activities are truly amazing. We are hoping and praying that we'll soon turn St. Teresa's into a full-fledged university. The second reason why I'm delighted is because New Zealand is my favorite country. We call ourselves God's own country. You can see the coconut trees behind me, which qualify us for that. But the truly God's own country is New Zealand. As High Commissioner to Fiji and 8 other South Pacific island states some years ago, I had the privilege of traveling the length and breadth of New Zealand. And I have not seen a more beautiful, more disciplined, and more prosperous country than that. My best friend in Fiji was the High Commissioner of New Zealand, Mr. Brian Absalom, who later became New Zealand's first High Commissioner to South Africa. We shared a passion for golf, and we traveled whole of Fiji playing golf with other diplomatic groups. The third reason why I'm happy about this program is that the most important educational reform that I proposed when I was the head of the Kerala State Higher Education Council, which brought me close to St. Teresa's and some other colleges, was internationalization. Although India has been famous for attracting students and scholars from all over the world for centuries, we have developed a certain isolationism in education, partly because of lack of confidence, and partly because of all the other constraints in traveling and moving to other countries. But without internationalization, no education program can be successful. We are slowly getting over the mindset of trying to isolate ourselves into our own cocoon and moving towards other universities. But people often think in terms of United States or UK, and rarely do they think about New Zealand. But having lived in Fiji, I know how much the people of Fiji who are Indian origin have moved to Auckland and other places, not only for education, but also for a very good living that the country offers. So we need to tie up as much as possible with foreign universities, because we do not need to reinvent the wheel. We tend to do. There are so many great universities and great systems which we can simply follow, not to be afraid of cultural invasions and things which people think about. Mahatma Gandhi told us, leave our doors and windows open, but don't allow the breeze to blow you off. And I think India has now developing that capacity to absorb the best around the world. And so we need to accept the best practices already tried and proved in many universities, particularly in New Zealand. So this program, I know you are going to catch the young people and train them, and the best of them get an opportunity to go to New Zealand. There cannot be a better program than that. And therefore, I'm greatly delighted that I'm here today to felicitate this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for those wonderful words. Now we have three representatives from the elite universities of New Zealand to offer their felicitations. It's my honor to invite Mr. Mcnally Byrne from the University of Auckland.
Kia ora, and thank you so much for the warm words and the welcome there. I just want to say before I start, I feel quite underqualified to be in the same Zoom meeting as many of you, but I'm going to be doing my best today to give you an update on the University of Auckland. Also, just before I do start, and I will try and share my screen, I've got about 2 or 3 slides that let's quickly go through, is now more than ever we're looking for innovative solutions to these complex problems that we're having today with COVID-19, and more solutions to provide students the pathways to reach higher education in places like New Zealand, and this program does exactly that. So we're very, very excited at the University of Auckland to be accepting students through this pathway in the not so distant future. So I'll just share my screen and I'll briefly give a quick introduction of myself as well. So my name is Mcnally Byrne, and I am the International Manager here at the University of Auckland, specifically focused on the Faculty of Education and Social Work, and also Creative Arts and Industries. But today we'll be giving you a broad overview of the University of Auckland. Now, I should thank Richard for also going through a lot of this slide already. But as Richard said before, the University of Auckland is New Zealand's largest university. We have over 42,000 students and 5,000 staff. And in New Zealand, we are the top ranked university and globally number 81 overall, according to the QS World Rankings. In terms of international students, we have over 8,000 international students from over 120 different countries, which actually does mimic what the population of Auckland is like as well. So Auckland City is one of the most culturally diverse cities in the world, with, I think I heard the statistic recently, that around about 40% of people who live here in Auckland, including myself, are actually born outside of New Zealand. So it's a very, very international city where students can get that experience of mixing with people from many different backgrounds, many different cultures, many different languages in a lot of cases as well. We are a research-focused institution, but that doesn't mean that we don't think about what our students are going to go on to do post-graduation, and we're actually the highest ranked New Zealand university for graduate employability, and that's for a number of different reasons. One is the way in which we teach. So we teach, as do all the New Zealand universities, but in a very collaborative manner. So we're making sure that students are learning through problem-based learning, through collaborating with their peers, with the lecturer, and really making sure that they're getting that experience to ensure that they thrive within the job market post-graduation, whether that be in New Zealand or back home. And as I said before, we're always happy to see innovation being put to good use. We're also the most innovative university in New Zealand as well. Ranked number 1 globally in the 2019 and 2020 Times Higher Education University Impact Rankings. Now, this measures how we stack up against the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, often referred to as SDGs, and this recognizes our commitment to sustainability and making positive social impact through research, teaching, and knowledge transfer. I'll briefly just talk about the partnership between the University of Auckland and Up Education. Richard has touched on this as well, but it is a long-standing partnership of over 21 years, and they've helped, Up Education have helped over 10,000 students transition into undergraduate degrees, and many more in the future, I'm sure, come through the FPP program. So not only will the FPP program support your students going into that the Certificate of Foundation Studies up, but that certificate will also make sure that these students are even more highly skilled within academic English, critical thinking skills, and independent study. Now, we do offer quite a broad range of different study options at the University of Auckland. So we offer over 200 programs all the way from undergraduate to the doctoral level. But here are some of the undergraduate programs that students could look to get into once completing the FPP and Certificate of Foundation Studies as well. So I'll just leave that up there. International scholarships again. So just the probably one that is most notable for today would be the University of Auckland International Student. This is, as the name suggests, for academically excellent students. Up to 50 available, up to 10,000 New Zealand dollars for undergraduate programs, but also some postgraduate options there as well. And that is me, and that's my time. So I just want to say thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you all today. I feel very honoured and humbled to be here. So I just want to say thanks again. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Ben, for that presentation. Next, I call upon Mr. James Law from Victoria University of Wellington.
Kia ora, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak with you all this afternoon. My name is James Law, and I'm actually here today on behalf of one of my colleagues, Andrea McLeod-Karim, who is our International Regional Manager for India, based in Mumbai. I've got a few quick slides I will just share with you now. Can we see that screen there? Yep.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes, it's visible. Yeah.
Excellent. So Victoria University is based in the capital city of New Zealand, Wellington, and this photo that you can see here is a lovely image of the city of Wellington. It's a beautiful harbour-side city, which enjoys fantastic sunny weather like this, particularly during the summer months. It's a wonderful place to live, work and study. So Wellington was ranked the world's #1 most livable city in 2017 and 18. And it's a very creative city as well. It's known for its film industries. It's the home of Weta Workshop, where Peter Jackson made his world-renowned Hobbit and Lord of the Rings films. It's a very diverse city. 25% of people who live in Wellington were actually born outside of New Zealand, so very similar to Auckland. It's a very diverse population here in the city. And it's a very safe city to live as well. It's ranked in the top 20 safest cities in the world to live. Victoria University of Wellington itself is a very large university here. We have about 22,000 students studying with us across our 3 central city campuses. Of those, we've got 8 different teaching faculties in which our students study. And our students do come from over 100 countries around the world. And we have many fantastic partnerships as well. So we are looking forward to working further with UP and St. Teresa's as well, and welcoming students to our campus in the future. This here is just our main Kelvin campus. The university itself dates back to 1897, and this is the original building of the university built at that time. Since that time, we have modernised and extended the Kelvin campus as well, and boast world-class facilities and libraries across all of our campuses where students can come and study with us. Our Fpp campus, which is pictured here, is directly across the road from New Zealand's Parliament. and in the centre of the judicial sector of Wellington, as well as in the centre of the business district itself. So it's a fantastic space for students to immerse themselves in all that makes Wellington great, being a global capital civic university as well, so they benefit from that. And Up Education, our partners, are directly across the road from our Fpp campus here as well. This is our law school, which in itself is a heritage building which dates back to the early 1870s, and now is the home of our law school, so it's steeped in a lot of history as well. And finally, our Tiaro campus and the creative quarter of Cuba quarter of Wellington is where students can study architecture and design with us. We offer a number of bachelor's degrees for students here at Victoria University of Wellington. Our Bachelor of Arts is one of the largest programs that we offer through our Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences. We have many students that travel from India to study in our humanities programs, our Bachelors of Engineering, and our Bachelors of Science and Bachelors of Commerce as well. The International Office, Wellington University International, provides international student support to all of our students travelling to New Zealand. Our services include a meet and greet service so that all students can be welcomed at the airport and delivered safely to their accommodation when they arrive in Wellington. We offer a personal, cultural and academic support to all students whenever they require it, and any other assistance, including insurance and visas, as well as arranging international buddies for our students. That's someone that can support them in their first few days and weeks studying here on campus with us. We also offer additional programs to help enhance students' degrees while studying with us, including several extracurricular programs which they can do, including our Wellington Plus program, our Wellington International Leadership Program, just to name a few there as well. The university has many halls of residence available, all dotted around very close to the city centre and the university itself. They are safe and supportive environments with 24/7 care available to our residents living on campus with us. There's academic support as well for all residents. They cater all students from all backgrounds and can provide catering or non-catered options as well. Finally, just a note on our Indian community here studying at Victoria University of Wellington. We have a very rich history of strong connections to India, both in Wellington and at the university. The Indian Students Association is very active here on campus, organising events throughout the year for things such as Diwali. And the fifth largest, Indian students are the fifth largest nationality of students on our campus. And we do receive a good number of students from Kerala each year as well. Thank you so much for the time to speak with you this afternoon. It was a real pleasure to speak with you and to meet you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, James. Next, on behalf of AUT University, we have a brief video presentation.
There's no sound. Tisha, I suggest we stop the presentation and we carry on with Ganesh.
Ganesh. Yeah, we apologize for the inconvenience. There was some technical glitch. Now I invite Mr. Ganesh Kormanal, who's our education partner from iQuery, to address the gathering.
Thank you, Jisha, and it's indeed an honor and a privilege to be here, amidst this gathering. iQuery, and as an academic, when I started iQuery, it was, kind of one focal point was to connect people through education, and that's what we do here. And iQuery has worked with St. Teresa's for a couple of years now. Now we are into the second year with Up Education, but this is kind of a fruitioning of those desired goals of connecting people, and the whole purpose. Personally, what I have here is that being a person from Kerala, I belong to Kerala by birth, so it's again a very special day for me to bring something back to Kerala, and that too, it's a strange relationship, that technology makes possible. I'm talking to you from Tasmania, which resembles, not as good perhaps as New Zealand, but Tasmania is also beautiful, and connecting through the rest of the world. So the world is shrinking through technology, and the only way to connect positively with people around the world perhaps is education, because that's built on trust and relationship, and that's what we intend to do. And as a facilitating partner for the FPP program in Kerala and in Karnataka, we will be assisting students and parents to unpack everything about this program, the opportunities, but also to travel with them all the way from Kerala all the way down to their destination in New Zealand. So thank you very much, and all the best, Theresin International team, Sona and Tisha. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ganesh. Now, on a final, before we wind up, we have Mr. Ben Burrows, who's the Regional Director of Education New Zealand. If you would like to say a few words before we close, Mr. Ben.
Sure, I can quickly say something. Kia ora koutou. Like David, I've also got a bias in the Teresa connection. I was probably showing my age here, but I enrolled. My mum sent me to a primary school at 5 years old called St. Teresa's in Christchurch, New Zealand. So it's nice to have a new Teresa's connection. I've got fond memories of learning the recorder with Sister Basil as a 5-year-old. But look, it is my pleasure to be joining today, and just on behalf of obviously Education New Zealand, but to, I guess, to be part of such a significant milestone for Up Education in India, I can say, as has already been said for the other speakers, that we are hugely supportive of such innovative products such as the FPP program, which provides obviously such greater access to a New Zealand world-class education experience. So for us in India, the main focus is to drive awareness for our world-class universities. So this product absolutely supports that. So look, I won't keep you any longer than necessary, but I just would like, again, on behalf of Education New Zealand, to offer my warm congratulations to Up on today's launch, and certainly look forward to many students, and particularly St. Teresa students, undertaking the FPP program in the coming months, and hopefully welcoming many of those students to New Zealand when we're able to do so. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Burrows. So we keep switching. And in the program, we've mentioned it's a Q&A session now, but we've run out of time. So I think it would be really good if anyone has a question to add it to our chat along with your mail ID. And we'll get back to you. And for all the schools, Richard has promised us that they will address us personally. So if you have any questions, you can please leave it in your chat box and along with your mail ID. Thank you. Now we're coming to a close of the program today. To deliver the vote of thanks, I invite Dr. Dali Paulos, the HOD of the Department of Management Studies, and she's also a part of the FPP program. She's the marketing coordinator. Over to you, Dali.
A very warm good afternoon to one and all. The Teresian family is indeed grateful for the opportunity to associate with world-class partner universities in this new capacity as onshore pathway provider. We take this opportunity to thank our illustrious patrons, our Honorable Director, Provincial Superior and Manager, Reverend Dr. Sister Vinita, and our dynamic principal, Dr. Lissy Matthew, for clearing the stage for yet another Teresian International initiative. We have great regard and appreciation for Mr. Richard Kensington, Head Academic Relations of UP Education New Zealand, and his team, who have been the face of the FPP program in India. The Indian partners have clearly benefited from his clinical precision and meticulous style of functioning. We also place on record our heartfelt gratitude to the chief guest of this function, His Excellency, Mr. David Pine, whose unifying message and tall presence have rendered much credibility to this initiative. We thank the highly revered Sri T.P. Srinivasan, IFS, whose espousal of international collaborations in higher education has given us impetus to step up our efforts in this direction. Our hearts go out to Mr. Ben Mcnally Byrne of the University of Auckland, Mr. James Law of the Victoria University of Wellington, and Mr. William H.O. of the AUT University for partnering with us in true letter and spirit. We also thank Mr. Ben Burrows of Education New Zealand for gracing this function. A special word of appreciation to Mr. Ganesh of iQuery Australia for this ready support and professional inputs at every juncture so far. We hope this is the beginning of a wonderful association with him in the journey ahead. A special word of gratitude to the ever helpful Dr. Lata Nair and to the committed onshore team at St. Teresa's, led by Ms. Sona Thomas and aptly supported by Dr. Jisha John on the academic front, and Nitish, Megha, Anu, and Purnendu on the marketing side. We are humbled by the trust placed in us by the managements and principals of partnering schools in Kerala and Karnataka and extend our heartfelt gratitude to them. We also acknowledge the aspiring youngsters and their diligent parents for the genuine interest in the FPP program, as well as friends from the media for consenting to cover the same. On this concluding note, we part ways until we meet again. Thank you all and hope you have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you everyone for being involved, and look forward to the success of the program as we roll out over the next few months.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.